More migrants rush to the U.S. Mexico border with just 3 hours to go until Title 42 ends. Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Marcella Lee.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. Crowds of migrants are hoping to seek asylum as pandemic-related restrictions are about to expire. We've been along the border all week covering the situation as it escalates. Tonight, we have team coverage. Let's begin with CBS 8's Jesse Pagan, who's live at the border. Jesse?
Yeah, Marcella, Carlo, we have been live at the border, our entire team for days now at this point, and us here, my crew, for hours since this afternoon, just taking a look at everything that's going on. This is part of the picture that shows the identity of the situation out here. Kids as young as this, some even just babies younger than that, months old, with their families at this fence right here, on U.S. soil, technically there, hoping for their chance to claim asylum at some point in their minds, hopefully, when Title 42 comes to an end tonight at 8:59 our time out here. We've been covering this story from several angles for weeks now at this point, all leading up to tonight, again, 8:59 p.m. when Title 42 expires and Title 8 takes its place once again. Right now, I want to turn to a conversation I had a little bit earlier when I got here with two women. It's a story that we've been hearing for days now. They're young girls from Colombia and said, there's nothing for us here. Let's do this and let's take our chances. Take a listen.
Yo no tengo nada. El estudio, lo que estudiamos solamente volver a trabajar allá sería lo único.
Zuleina, muchas gracias, te lo aprecio. Volveré en un tantito, tengo que ir a trabajar, pero volveré. Muchas gracias, te lo aprecio.
Chao.
These two young women tell me that they left Colombia a couple days ago. They knew each other barely in Colombia and then flew from Colombia through different countries, ultimately ending up in Guadalajara and now in Tijuana, and now obviously right here at the border with San Diego. They say, like so many other stories, their goal and their biggest hope is to be able to come in, claim asylum, and start that better life in a land of opportunities, as they've been told. I asked them, what have you been told about the U.S.? What have you heard so much that made you want to go through this journey and end up here at the border of the United States? And they say that it's what we've heard for decades about the U.S. It's the land of opportunity and the hope of a better life for themselves, their families, and their kids when they do have them. One of them, Sule and Lina, are their names. One of them, Sule, tells me she has family in Miami, and for years they've been telling her, try to come here, live that better life, but they say it's hard to do that legally, and it's hard to amount the money that you need to go through that process. So they said at one point, let's do it and let's take our chances. This is their plan A, and they're hoping it works out. And that plan A is the same plan A for a lot of the people along this fence here. As you're seeing right now, families all together at some points with their own kids. It's mother, father, kids, some people on their own, obviously, all coming here. But it's not just here in San Isidro. It's all along the border in San Diego County, in California, and Texas as well. But right now, I want to turn to CBS 8's Jenny Day. As much of the attention has been focused here, Jenny is reporting on groups of people who have been caught by CBP crossing at other parts of San Diego County. Jenny?
With so much attention on Otay and San Isidro, some are using San Diego's backcountry to get in. A large group came through the Jacumba, Dulzura area just a few hours ago. That's really closer to the Tecate port of entry. Border Patrol agents, though, are spread out all across the county. In addition to boots on the ground, there are cameras and sensors in place to alert them.
Bye. Right.
Some migrants still in good spirits and saying hello. Others, including many children, are tired.
Estamos muy cansados, no hemos ni comido ni.
Algo cansado.
These two ended up in San Diego's backcountry after traveling from Colombia. They say they're from an area that's very dangerous.
Soy de una zona muy peligrosa.
Another man hoping for asylum came all the way from Turkey.
No, a little bit. Okay. I don't know speak.
About 300 other people were in this same group in East County. They made it onto U.S. soil after coming through the Otay Mountain wilderness. Some saying they were injured after climbing over the wall, then walking through Marin Valley and onto the 94 near Campo Road. many echoing that they've gone days without food and water.
Muy importante que sacan sus pasaportes.
As agents asked for passports and provided supplies, others set up a makeshift camp, even starting a fire in the brush as they waited to be transported. With these final few hours under Title 42, some will be given a court date, possibly years from now. Others will be deported right away. It's all case by case until midnight.
It's just very sad, and I think we have a big potential for a humanitarian crisis here at our border.
Republican County Supervisor Jim Desmond expressing empathy on CBS 8 this morning and saying, "We knew this was coming, so it could have been prevented."
Federal government is letting us down, and hopefully this will lead to a better system, so we can get people across our border that seeking asylum or whatever the case may be in an orderly fashion in a humane way.
Under Title 42, Customs and Border Protection turned away approximately 3 million asylum seekers. The current backlog for those who were able to apply is close to 2 million. That number, of course, is now expected to rise. Jenny Day, CBS 8.
Jenny, thank you. As you can see, the situation not just here in San Isidro, but also in East County, and really becoming a county-wide issue. Although county officials have said, while we need to handle it here as it happens, this is also very much a federal issue that they want the federal government to come in on. I want to show you guys again one more time just the picture of the folks who are on this other side of this fence. Technically, these folks are on American soil. They have crossed into the U.S. But guys, I want to underscore and add some context here. As we've been talking for days now about all of these folks and where they come from and their stories, we have reported this is not a Mexican main issue. This is not all Latin American people. This is not all brown people. There are people here from those countries. There are people here from South America, but there are also people here from other places, even Europe. Earlier this week, CBS 8's Shannon Handy talked with a person from the country of Georgia. We've talked with people from Russia, from Ukraine, and all of those countries in Eastern Europe. And also even this morning when Neda Iranpour was out here live, she spoke with a man who spoke Farsi from the Middle East, and that's how she was able to communicate with him. This is an issue of all kinds of people looking for that better life and coming to our border with that promise in their head. Whether they get that promise or not, that remains to be seen. And as we know, a lot of changes are going to be happening with the United States immigration policy come 8:59 p.m. tonight, Pacific time, when Title 42 ends and Title 8 kicks in. Carlo, Marcella?
Jesse, we've been talking to a lot of people for the last couple of weeks, and there's so much uncertainty out there with just a few hours left to go. There are a lot of activists down there, immigration experts. What do they predict is going to happen tonight at 9 p.m.?
That's a good point, Marcella, because a lot of stuff is really just balls juggling up in the air. There's a lot of limbo when it comes to what's going to happen with the policy and also just people and what they're expecting. So I talked during the 5 o'clock hour, Marcella, when you were anchoring our 5 o'clock news. I talked with an immigration attorney, an expert from the Immigration Defenders Law Center, and I asked her after that conversation, from your perspective, what are you expecting come 8:59 p.m. tonight? Are we expecting just drastic change in visuals here? Are we expecting something to happen? And she says, well, from my perspective professionally, that remains to be seen. We truly do not know. As we know, CBP has mentioned a bit of information here and there about what may happen. Of course, we know the Biden administration's plans for Title 8 and then the rule of having people seek asylum in other countries before they arrive here, and that being a prerequisite for them to even be considered to get it here. So that all depends. But come 8:59 p.m. tonight, when the United States goes back to Title 8 and they start processing those claims of asylum, that is what we can expect to see at this point, as experts are saying, is we expect to see people being taken to the processing center so they can start going through the process of claiming asylum, and if they're eligible or not eligible, who knows what happens after that. Carlo, Marcella?
We do know the lack of clarity, the lack of information is being replaced by misinformation and chaos on both sides of the border. We're going to be on it all night and bringing everybody information at 9 o'clock when Title 42 ends, we will have full coverage tonight. Jesse Pagan reporting for The Border. Thanks, Jesse. Make sure to stay with us on CBS 8 for updates on the end of Title 42. We'll have the latest developments on CBS8.com. You can also follow us on social media or download the CBS 8 app. And coming up tonight at 6:30, we will have a full half hour with a special guest and live team coverage from The Border.